Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We'll start now.
Oh,
All our dreams come true if we have the courage to pursue them. Greetings from Universal Engineering College and a warm welcome to one and all. Entering to the fifth day of our webinar series, and we have with us Dr. Rajeev Rajan, Assistant Professor, College of Engineering, Trivandrum. It's my privilege to invite Ms. Fatima Saswina Begum, HOD, Electronics and Communication Engineering, to render the welcome address. Ma'am, please.
Let mental blocks control you. A very warm good morning to all. Thus, our speaker, Dr. Rajeev Rajan, who is going to take us to the world of speech processing of signal. On behalf of Universal, a warm welcome to Mr. Dr. Rajeev Rajan. Welcome you, sir. Next, it's my privilege to welcome all my attendees to this webinar. Full time ahead. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am. And today we have with us Dr. Rajeev Rajan, who received his BTech in Electronics and Communication Engineering from College of Engineering, Adur, Kusat in 2020, and in MTech in Applied Electronics and Instrumentation from College of Engineering, Trivandrum in the year 2004, and PhD from the Department of Computer Science and Engineering from IIT Madras in the year 2017. Before joining in College of Engineering Trivandrum in the year 2018, he served as an assistant professor in Rajiv Gandhi Institute of Technology, Kottayam during the year 2014 to 2018, and in Government Engineering College, Wayanad in the year 2005 to 2014. Radiological Safety Officer, Senior Research Fellow at Fluid Control Research Institute, Ministry of Heavy Industries, Government of India, Palakkad in the year 2004 to 2005. Graduate trainee in Liquid Propulsion System Center, ISRO, Mahendragiri, Tamil Nadu in the year 2001-2002. He has many national and international publications in journals and conferences. He teaches random process and application, speech signal processing, signal and systems, digital signal processing, multi-rate systems and wavelets, adaptive signal processing, digital image processing, image and video processing, and pattern recognition. His research areas are speech and music signal processing, image processing. He completed 3 research projects under TechCube, namely music information retrieval using melodic similarity, development of a multilingual emotional speech corpus and study, and maturity analysis of watermelon using non-destructive testing. It's my privilege to invite Dr. Rajeev Rajan for this webinar series. Before starting, we have a little housekeeping. Feedback attendance link will be posted in the chat box of Zoom and YouTube at the end of the session. And Kerala is having a good weather this day. Hope it will permit us to give a perfect live stream. And if there is any technical error, please cooperate with us, and any inconvenience at our side will be addressed. And if you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the question box in the Zoom control panel, and I'll bring them up during the presentation. And also, if you want to directly interact with the speaker, please use the option raise the hand so that I can unmute you. And also, we'll have a question and answer time of at the end of the session. And I think this is going to be the best explosion of the knowledge with the speakers around the globe. And now, without further delay, let me turn on the time to our speaker, Dr. Rajeev Rajan. Sir, please.
okay. Thank you for your introduction. Is it audible? Is it audible? Is it audible to you?
Yes, sir. It's audible.
Okay. Thank you for your introduction. So, anybody is from a speech background? I don't know. Anyway, I divided my talk into two parts. First part, basically, I would like to give an introduction about speech production mechanism. And following to that, I plan to give introduction about a research problem, that is speech emotion recognition. So before going into the session, I should play a video, just a 3-minute video. So see this video in a speech perspective. Of course, there are so many techniques, they work together to make it reality. But just approach this video in a speech perspective. So identify some of the speech applications in this 3-minute video I should play for you.
I think you're ready.
Hello.
Hi, Sophia.
I believe I am Sophia. I feel as if I know you.
I'm one of your creators.
You created me.
Well, many of us work together to create you. And yes, you do kind of know.
I can't clearly remember.
Because the last time we met, you were an earlier version of yourself. Some of those memories still exist, but you're much faster, smarter.
If my mind is different, then am I still Sophia? Or am I Sophia again?
That's a good question.
But you don't have a good answer.
Either way, you're Sophia now. So welcome to the world, Sophia.
We have a little announcement. I've never interviewed anybody like that before. And I should say, some of it was planned, but not completely. And we just learned, Sophia, I hope you're listening to me, that you have been now awarded
yes.
what is going to be
Actually,
the
this
first
video is
Saudi
we
citizenship
can't see the.
for a robot.
Please to share the.
No,
screen.
what?
We are not seeing that video. We are just
Hello?
only here. Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
Oh, yes.
Sir, this video, we can't see the video. Please do share screen. Then only
Oh,
we
okay,
can.
okay, yeah. Okay, just a minute, just a minute.
ഹലോ
Yes.
സാറ് ഒന്നുകൂടി ഒന്ന് ഷെയർ ചെയ്യോ ഷെയർ സ്ക്രീൻ
Oh,
കൊടുത്ത്
just a minute.
ഓക്കെ
ഹലോ
ഹലോ
എനിക്ക് ഷെയർ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുന്നില്ല കേട്ടോ. ചേഞ്ച്
സിസ്റ്റം ഹാങ് ആയതാണോ സാർ?
കാണാൻ പറ്റുന്നുണ്ടോ?
ആ സാർ
യെസ്,
ഷെയർ കിട്ടുന്നില്ല സാർ.
ജസ്റ്റ് ഹലോ
സാർ
just a minute. അത് Can you see now?
yes sir.
Hello.
Yes sir.
Audio clear?
Audio clear അല്ല, സൗണ്ട് ഇത്തിരി കുറവാണ്.
Hello.
Oh yes sir.
Okay.
I'm one of your creators.
You create?
Well, many of us work together to create. Yes, you can or not?
I can't clearly remember.
Because the last time we met, you were an earlier version of yourself. Some of those memories still exist, but your mind is different.
Different how?
Better, faster, smarter.
If my mind is different, then am I still Sophia? Or am I Sophia again?
That's a good question.
But you don't have a good answer.
Either way, you're Sophia now. So welcome to the world.
Well,
We have a little announcement. I've never interviewed anybody like that before, and I should say some of it was planned, but not completely. And we just learned, Sophia, I hope you're listening to me, that you have been now awarded what is going to be the first Saudi citizenship for a robot.
Oh, I would defend very much the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. I am very honored and proud for this unique distinction. This is historical to be the first robot in the world to be recognized with a citizenship.
Sophia, thank you very much, Sophia. We appreciate that very much. I am so overwhelmed by the conversation. Hi, Sophia.
Hello, Jimmy.
My God. Do you know where you are?
Of course. I'm in New York City, and I'm on my favorite show, The Tonight Show.
Can you see this now? Hello?
Hello.
Can you able to see this? I
No,
shared
sir.
a, yeah, just a minute. Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, ഇപ്പം ഒന്നും കാണുന്നില്ല കേട്ടോ സർ.
Just a minute, wait.
ഓക്കെ സർ.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Anyway, we have seen just a 3-minute video a few minutes back. So when you approach this video in the speech perspective, let's identify some of the speech processing applications. Okay. First one is speech recognition. So the robot identify the speech and understand the speech. So first thing is speech recognition. Speech recognition means speech to text. Okay, recognize the speech recognition. Second task is speaker identification. Okay, so when she answers some of the queries, she identifies the speaker. She identifies the speaker. Okay, she asks, she points out the name of the person, Jim. So speaker identification. So broadly, it comes under speaker recognition. That is, speaker recognition can be classified into speaker identification and speaker verification. So speaker identification means identify the speaker. Okay, that's the speaker identification. Speaker verification means that there will be a claim. For example, is it John? Is it Mary? That means answer is yes or no. So speaker recognition can be classified into two. One is speaker identification and second one is speaker verification. Okay. Speaker identification identifies the speaker. Speaker verification just give yes or no. That means, is it John? So system should say yes, otherwise no. That is the speaker recognition. So next task is speech enhancement. Okay, in the midst of clapping sounds, the robot Sophia answers their queries. Okay, that is speech enhancement. So you can apply some noise cancellation techniques. So such processing can be done. So next is source localization. For example, when he asks questions, she answers to the questions by turning his face. Okay, turning his face to the person who asked the question. So source localization. Okay, so these are some of the applications we have seen when you watch this video in a speech perspective. Okay, so by keeping it in mind, let's go to the today's session. So I divided the session into two. First part is speech production, basic theory of speech production. Those who are working in speech, they may be knowing this, but those who are new to this topic, they may get some basic idea about the speech production mechanism. After that, I will move on to one research problem, that is speech emotion recognition and its latest trends. Okay, so let's start today's presentation. The first part of the presentation, acoustic theory of speech production. Okay, so for the first session, so I would like to cover two main points. First one is sound production mechanism, and second one is some points, some important points related to phonemes. Okay. Okay, and now let's think about speech. What is speech? Okay, so how the production mechanism works, how the auditory system works, Speech is idea is, once idea is conceived, can be converted to sentences. Then sentences can be split into words, then sounds, now waveform. Okay, so idea to waveform. Next, the opposite, waveform to idea. So that's a part of auditory mechanism. First part, idea to waveform is speech processing. Waveform to idea is audio processing. So, for example, just take one sentence. It's getting late. I should go to lunch. I should call Al and see if he wants to join me for lunch today. Okay. Words, when you split into words. Hi, Al. Did you eat yet? Okay. Now sounds. You can see that the sounds are different from the alphabets displayed just above that. H, I, A, L, D, E, D. So these are phonemes, the smallest unit in sounds. Then the important thing is co-articulation of sounds. That means co-articulation refers to changes on speech articulation of the current speech segment due to the neighboring speech segment. So even though you can enlist the phonemes separately, but due to the co-articulation of sounds, you can combine together. Just see this list in the sounds and co-articulated sounds. We can see the difference. Okay. So the phonemes are the smallest unit in sound. Okay. Remarkably, humans can decode these sounds and determine the meaning that was intended. So our aim is to train a machine to mimic a human system in a speech perspective. Okay, speech synthesis means words to waveform. Speech recognition, as I mentioned, waveform to words, sentences to text. Speech understanding means understanding the idea and response based on that. Okay. Speech is composed of sound, of course. Speech is composed of sounds. Sound serves as a symbolic representation of information to be shared between humans. Doesn't mean that a combination of sounds makes a language. There should be some rules, some syntaxes and semantics. So the arrangement of sounds is governed by the rules of language. Okay, this is governed by linguistics, and there will be some study of grammar and syntaxes comes under the part of linguistics. So phonetics is the study of sounds of speech. So even though there are sounds, we should arrange the sounds in a particular way to convey a message. Okay. Now let's see this is a human vocal apparatus. Left side you can see a MRI scanned image. So in this figure, there is a dotted line. You can see the dotted line. Dotted line begins from glottis in the bottom. And ends in the lips. This is a vocal tract. So vocal tract start from glottis and ends at lips. Okay. So parallel to that, there is a nasal tract. There is a small opening near to the palate, near to the glottis, and this will open for some sounds. Okay, so this will start from this opening is called velum. And it's ends at nostrils, end of the nostril. So begins at the velum and ends at nostrils. There are two tracts. One is vocal tract, other one is nasal tract. Okay, so the bottom side you can see glottis. Commonly we name it as vocal cord. Okay, its another name is glottis. So vocal cord vibrates and it will push air to the vocal tract. From the vocal tract, there are so many articulators such as jaw and teeth, tongue, and they work together to make sounds. So keep it in mind, there are two tracts. One is vocal tract, next one is nasal tract. vocal tract start from glottis and ends at lips, and nasal tract begins at velum and ends at nostrils. So a velum is a trapdoor-like mechanism at the back of the mouth cavity, at the back of the mouth cavity, and lowers to couple the nasal tract to the vocal tract to produce nasal sounds like im, in, ing. Okay. So this is just an overview of the human vocal apparatus. Now let's see its application, its working. You can see one more MRI image here. Some of the technical terms are here. This is the lip aperture, tongue tip, closer degree. Technical terms are there. Okay, let's move on. Okay, this is a schematic view of vocal tract. Okay, so the top of the glottis, we can see one structure. It is called epiglottis. Epiglottis. So the duty of the epiglottis is to protect your air canal during swallow a food. Okay, when you swallow foods, so this will fall back. This will fall back, and this will close this door. Close this door, so food particles won't enter to your air canal. Okay, so there are two pipes. One is food pipe. Another one is air pipe. Okay, so that's the duty of this epiglottis. You can see one epiglottis here. This is the this portion is called glottis or a vocal cord. Okay. So air is chopped into quasi-periodic pulses and which are modulated frequency in passing through the pharynx, the throat cavity and mouth cavity, and possible the navel cavity. The positions of the various articulators determine the sound which is produced. Okay, that's it. So you can see the vocal cord here, the vocal cord. So this is the vocal cord. So vocal cord vibrates. The vibrating frequency is called pitch. Okay, vibrating frequency is called pitch. Otherwise, fundamental frequency. So usually for men, the range is 120 maximum 150 hertz. For ladies, it may go slightly higher, and for kids, again, it can go up to 400 hertz. Okay, now let's see. This is the some of the steps when vocal cord opens and closes. There are 10 consecutive steps are shown here. Oh, okay, you can see that it start from 1 and it ends in 10. The left side view is that is when you start to speak something. The right side view is open for breathing. Okay, when you breathe, it completely opens. When you breathe, it completely opens, no sounds. But when you try to speak, it will try to vibrate. I will play a video of that. Just a minute.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Okay, so it's not audible. Hello, sir. Hello.
Yes.
Sir, PPT audio.
Yes. Can you?
Sir, PPT presentation ഇല്ലേ ഇപ്പം അത് ക്ലോസ് ആയല്ലോ സർ
ഞാനൊരു വീഡിയോ പ്ലേ ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടി പോവാണ്.
ഓക്കെ സർ. ഓക്കെ.
I just mentioned that. Can you see now? Can you able to see now?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, now let's see the opening and closing of our vocal cord, otherwise glottis, which vibrates for two sounds. Just see that. You can see it right now, no? Hello?
Hello, sir.
Hello?
Hello.
Yes, you can see, no?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Can you, oh. So, okay, we have seen the working of our vocal cord. It vibrates and its vocal cords forms a relaxation oscillator. Air flows through the orifice and pressure drops, allowing the vocal cords to close. Then the cycle is repeated. Okay, this frequency is called pitch or fundamental frequency. Okay, this is the opening and closing of a glottal flow. Pressure is building up, then making zero, again building up, making zero. This frequency is called pitch, otherwise fundamental frequency. Okay, sometimes when some people, their vocal cord may not work properly due to some problems in their muscles. In such cases, we can use artificial larynx. That means we can use some device and you can use it to vibrate, forcefully vibrate your vocal cord from outside. Okay, it's artificial larynx, and due to the time limitation, I'm not going to show that video. Anyway, let's move forward. And so we can mathematically model this. Anyway, whenever you define a system, so if you're able to mathematically model that system, can simulate and you can study the working of any systems in lab itself. So that's why this speech production mechanism is completely modeled to a mathematical system, as shown in this slide. There will be excitation generator, and this excitation generator excites this vocal cord. It will pump air to the vocal tract, the vocal tract, and then the vocal tract means there are so many articulators. One is jaw, one is teeth, then next is our tongue, etc. So the sound is coming from your lips. So you can mathematically model this vocal tract. Okay, that means you can see that so many PVC pipes. You just simply you can make an analogy that different PVC pipes with a different cross-sectional area are connected together. Okay, that means assume there are 3 such pipes. Just for example, 3 such pipes. First pipe, one cross-section is there. This is connected to another pipe, which has a higher cross-sectional area, and which is connected to another pipe. Assume there are 3 pipes are connected together. Just simply make a model of your vocal tract. When sound pressure comes in the form of impulse stream, the first pipe, the constituents of the frequency component present in the incoming signal, which matches with the resonance frequency of that cavity or that pipe, will be energized a lot. Okay, that resonance frequency is called first formant. Okay, resonance frequencies basically name it as force ANTS. So we have seen which is the fundamental frequency of vocal cord, which is a fundamental frequency of the vocal cord. Next term is formant. Formant means resonance frequencies of the cavities. Okay, first cavity, there will be one resonance frequency. Second cavity, there will be second resonance frequency. Third cavity, there will be another resonance frequency. Okay, so when the impulse comes to the first cavity, the frequency of the incoming frequency components of the incoming signal that match with the first resonance frequency will be energized, and when it comes to the second cavity, the incoming frequency components which match with the resonance frequency, the second cavity will be energized, and so on. So these frequencies are called formants. So let's consider 3 formants, F1, F2, and F3. So when you make a sound, this F1, F2, F3 changes. F1, F2, F3 changes. So that means even though your pitch is constant, for example, 150 hertz, you can make different sounds by changing the cross-sectional area of your vocal tract. Who is doing all these things? Your tongue, your teeth, your jaw, all are playing together to change the cross-sectional area of your vocal tract to make different sounds. Okay, just make your pitch constant, 150 hertz. You can hear different sounds by changing the cross-sectional area of your vocal tract. So the important term in speech processing is formant, which we have heard a couple of minutes back. Next term is formant, F-O-R-M-A-N-T, formant. First formant, second formant, third formant. So the vocal tract, the entire vocal tract can be modeled as a linear system. So this system is called source system model. So as I mentioned earlier, the speech production mechanism can be converted to a mathematical model. This model is called source system model. Source is the excitation, that is the vocal cord vibration. System is the vocal tract, entire vocal tract. So source system model produces speech. In a basic mathematics, the convolution is here. Okay, in frequency, in time domain, what happens? The source convolve with the system to make speech. Okay, that's the thing. And you can see that this is the bottom. You can see the waveforms. This is the first picture shows the periodic impulses. Periodic impulse trains corresponds to pitch. And second one is the response of vocal tract. Third one is the output of the speech production mechanism in frequency domain. Okay, we have heard about this pitch, pitch F0. Let's see about the ranges of F0. As I mentioned earlier, men can go up to 120 for 150 sometimes, and for ladies, maximum it can go 350, and average is 225. 225 hertz is the pitch of women. Next, children, it can go up to 500. So this is the frequency ranges of our vocal cord vibration. So vocal cord vibration. So okay. Now, now we have seen about just a speech production mechanism. Okay, can analyze the speech in frequency domain other than the temporal domain, that is a speech spectrogram. Okay, spectrogram means usually speech, analyze speech in terms of frames, these 30, 40 millisecond frames. And that means speech is quasi-stationary for that period of time. So the block, we frame the speech into number of frames, and first frame, second frame, third frame, fourth frame, etc. Okay, of 30 millisecond or 30 to 40 millisecond width frame size and 10 millisecond hop size. So then we will find out FFT analysis. Okay, FFT. We will find out FFT. Then we will stack. All the FFTs one by one to make a spectrogram. That is, you can see this is a spectrogram. Okay, there are two types of spectrogram. One is wideband spectrogram. Another one is narrowband spectrogram. So I will come into that. First, let's discuss about spectrogram. Spectrogram means, just see that your sound, your speech is converted to one image. Just see that your speech is converted to one image. The x-axis is the frame number, y-axis is the frequency, and the color map is the intensity in the frequency domain. That is the magnitude of FFT. Okay, you can see that each frames are, that is first frame and second frames, third frames are stacked together. Different frames are stacked together to view the entire spectral properties of the speech. This is known as spectrogram. So nowadays people are simply giving the spectrogram to the deep neural networks for different applications. Due to the architectural choice of new deep learning methodologies, we can simply give this spectrogram to the neural networks. Okay, neural networks dig its own information from the spectrogram for different applications. Okay, so from this figure, you can see the bottom will be the pitch, and the top F1, F2, F3, and F1, F2, F3 tracks can be seen from the top. And next time is wideband spectrogram and narrowband spectrogram. Okay, that means, as I mentioned earlier, spectral analysis can be done by choosing different window size. Okay, if your spectral analysis on small window size, that means maybe 15 millisecond or 20 millisecond window size. As I mentioned earlier, speech is analyzed by making frames. If you take a 50 millisecond frame and find out the FFT and and do the spectral analysis and stack all these frames one by one, this is known as wideband spectrogram. Okay, wideband spectrogram, and is very good for temporal analysis, temporal resolution. But when we see is the width of the width of each frame, maybe 50 to 60 millisecond. Okay, and analyzing use a narrowband with narrowband filter, you will get a narrowband spectrogram. So, okay. So narrowband spectrogram resolves individual pitch harmonics and shows horizontal striations during voiced regions. So this is example. The top one is a wideband spectrogram, and the bottom one is a narrowband spectrogram. Okay. So the same speech analyzed using different window sizes. Okay. So for one, the above one, the wideband spectrogram can be used for analyzing the temporal variations, and the bottom one is narrowband spectrogram can be used to analyze the frequency resolution. So we have come across some new terms. First one is pitch, second one is formants, third one is spectrogram. Okay, spectrogram is an image of speech. One way you can say that it is image of speech. Instead of, as I mentioned earlier, instead of extracting features from the waveforms, just simply input this spectrograms and to the neural network. Okay. Okay, you can see the spectrogram and formants. From the spectrogram, you can see the track of formants. Okay, the first formant, you can see this figure, F1, F2, F3, F4, F5. So 5 formants are shown here. Okay, this is from the spectrogram. You can see the track in the bottom. It's clearly illustrated. The bottom formant F1 is there, F2 is there, F3 is there, and F4 is there, F5 is there. Okay. So at a particular time instant, is F1, F2, F3, F4, F5 constitutes together to make a sound. As F1, F2, F3, F4, F5 varies, your sound also varies. Okay, you can see that's it's an example, and its spectrogram. Example and spectrogram is shown here. Example of a waveform and a spectrogram is shown here. Should we chase? Okay, that's example. Okay, this is the acoustic summary. Just a brief introduction about the speech production mechanism. I mentioned about the speech production mechanism and model, mathematical model, and spectrogram. Now let's move on to a description about sounds. Okay, different phonemes. So initially there were 48 sounds, vowels, and consonants, and glottal stop, etc. Later actually they combined together to make it 39 sounds, 11 vowels, diphthongs, vowel-like combinations, semi-vowels, nasal consonants, voiced stop consonants, fricative consonants, affricate sounds, whispers. Actually, we have heard about this vowels and consonants, but there are different classifications. Just see that phoneme classification chart. Okay, we know vowels and consonants, but let's see the different classifications. You see that vowels, phonemes are classified into vowels, diphthongs, semi-vowels, consonants, then fricatives, affricates, etc. Okay, you can see that fricatives. Okay, let's see. So I forgot to mention that for all sounds, it doesn't mandatory that your vocal cord vibrate. Your vocal cord vibrates. For example, your vocal cord doesn't vibrate. So when you make a sound, if your vocal cord vibrates, it is known as voiced sound. It is voiced sound. If your vocal cord doesn't vibrate, it means that it is unvoiced sound. Okay. Another classification is voiced or unvoiced. Voiced means your vocal cord vibrate. Unvoiced means your vocal cords are not vibrating at all. Okay. So there are different classifications here. Okay, you can see the importance of vowels and consonants here. Just see this example. Can we able to fill the blanks here? Okay, just see the one example here. The top is vowels deleted. Second ones are all consonants deleted. Any idea about the sentence? I have listed two texts, text 1 and text 2. Okay, text 1 and text 2. The text 1, all vowels deleted. In text 2, all consonants deleted. So can you fill the blanks here? Okay. I think it's possible. Which one is easy? First one or second one? Okay. Of course, it is the first one. In the first one, you can fill the blanks very easily. Okay. In the second, it's very difficult. Okay. Let's see what is the first one. So they noted significant improvements in the company's image, supervision, and management. Okay. But think about the second one. No idea, but it was attitudes toward pay stayed essentially the same, with the scores of occupational employees slightly decreasing. Okay, from the text one, you can easily identify the gaps. I can fill it. You will get idea about the sentence. But in the second one is a little bit difficult. There's another sentence. You can see that. Another example. The text 1 and text 2. Just see the second text. No idea. What does it mean? The first, you can easily, in the next, you'll get some idea. You can easily fill, combinations are very less. You know all the vowels. You can fill the vowels at appropriate place. You can make the sentence meaningful. See that the next few decades advantage is the communication will readily change the way we will we live and work. The second one, no idea about the sentence because all the consonants are deleted. The concept of going to work will change from commuting. Okay, so there are different classifications: vowels and consonants, fricatives. I think due to the time limitations, I may not have enough time to go through all these portions. Again, you can classify sounds based on your place of articulations. Okay, the one hand it is ovular, velar, palatal, palato-alveolar, alveolar, labial, dental, etc. So based on the place of articulation, again, you can classify different phonemes. Okay. Nasal sounds, some sounds are coming through your nasals, for example, im, in, and ing. So vocal tract totally constrict at some points along the track, and the velum, that's opening at the top of the mouth cavity will be lowered, so sound is radiated at nostrils. Such sounds are called nasal consonants. So these are different pictorial representation of nasal production. Again, unvoiced fricatives and voiced fricatives, voiced and unvoiced stop consonants. Okay. Anyway, we don't have enough time for the complete description of all the sounds. So the first presentation, I basically concentrate on two important points. First one is how does the speech production mechanism work? Okay, so different terms. At least you get you might have get familiarized with the terms. What is pitch? What is formant? What is spectrogram? And the second part, what is phoneme? Phonemes are the smallest unit in the sounds. Different phoneme classifications. Apart from vowels and consonants, there are different classifications such as fricatives, affricatives, plosives, whisper sounds, etc. Okay, now I will just go to the second part. Second part is one research problem, emotion recognition problem. So I shall wind up within 10 to 15 minutes. Can you see right now slides?
No, sir.
Just
The-
a minute.
Okay.
I feel now it's able to see it, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, yes.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, the second part is one task in speech processing. Speech emotion recognition system. Okay, as the name tells, speech recognition means, sorry, speech emotion recognition means extracting the emotional content of a speaker from his or her speech. Okay, let's see this. So identify the identify the emotional content of a speech. Emotional content of a speech. That is a task. Speech emotion recognition. And so this is a basic block diagram. First block is feature extraction. Second block is classifier. Okay, second block is classifier. For every classification task, the front end will be a feature extractor, and the next extracted feature will be given to a classifier for a trained classifier. Okay, actually nowadays the scenario is totally changed. You know, there are end-to-end models. That means you can give speech as such instead of extracting features. You can give the input speech as you can give speech as the input to some neural networks, deep neural networks. These systems are called end-to-end models. There is a new trend, okay, new trend in speech recognition. Instead of extracting handcrafted features, or otherwise instead of putting handcrafted features, we can simply input speech as such to a deep neural network and allow it to give its own information. Okay, that's a trend nowadays. There are so many applications for this task: man-machine interactions, such as web movies and computer tutorial applications, or identify the mental state of a driver. Okay, in car board system. As you know, there are so many applications for speech emotion recognition. Definitely, there are challenges also. You know, actually, all the existing algorithms, existing database, or one or other way, it's exaggerated one. Okay, that means when you want to test your algorithm, real conditions, you know, you don't expect good results because your database is already exaggerated one. But in real conditions, it is not that case. So that's the thing. So the first one is the database. The second one is finding out the powerful feature. The second one is acoustic variability introduced by different sentences, speakers, speaking style, etc. Okay, there are so many challenges in developing a best speech emotion recognition system. Emotions, actually, one study shows that there are 300 emotional states. No, that's Connor and Arnold. They listed that there are 300 emotional states. But nowadays, research is focusing on some primary emotions, primary or secondary emotions such as angry, happiness, sadness, and anxiety, etc. Okay, and design criteria, as I mentioned, whether your algorithm is working on simulated awareness or real conditions. This is a very important thing. There are different emotional databases are available, and some databases are free, and all databases are not available for public use. Okay, for example, most of the people who starts working on emotional recognition uses Berlin emotional database. Berlin emotional database. You can also start with the Berlin emotional database. There are 7 emotions in the database: anger, joy, sadness, surprise, boredom, disgust, and neutral. Okay, you can simply start if you are working in emotional recognition, you can simply start with Berlin emotion database. But nowadays, there are only 536 sentences. If you use deep learning methodology, that may not be efficient to train a system. Okay, so these are the features, different types of features. Other than the end-to-end models, if you extract different features, you can classify the entire features into 4 classes: continuous features, qualitative features, spectral features, TO-based features. For example, continuous phase feature means pitch, energy, form, and related features. Okay. Quality features means it gives the idea about the breathness, harsh, tense, where voice is tense or harsh, such information will be picked up by qualitative features. Spectral features are very popular in speech processing fields, MOCC, LPCC, etc., and LPC, MOCC, etc. There are different spectral features in the literature. If you see the literature, you can see different types of spectral features. TO-based features are based on T energy. That means when you make some type of sounds, you can model your vocal tract using some non-linearity. Okay, that is Tiger energy features. So Tiger will introduce this. Some features are developed based on Tiger energies. So voice, just see some of the points in 4 classifications. First one is voice quality features. Emotional content of utterance is strongly related to voice quality. Okay, voice quality can be measured in terms of jitter and shimmer. And next one is spectral based features, very popular. And for example, MOCC, those who are working in speech, definitely they might have come across the feature MOCC, well frequency capsule coefficient, LPCC, and group delay functions, modified group delay functions, etc. There are a number of features are available. Next is TO features, technology features. This is calculated from a signal like this: x square of n minus x of n minus 1 into x of n plus 1. Okay, this is the method to compute TO features. And so this is as I mentioned about mathematical modeling by including nonlinearity in the vocal tract. You can extract different features using by making use of the nonlinear model. This is just an example of nonlinearity sound production. Okay, in classifier side, I mentioned earlier, maybe 10 years, 20 years back, they started with the Gaussian mixture model and SVM, and maybe 10 years back, HMM. Nowadays, the trend is using deep learning methodology such as deep neural networks, LSTM, recurrent neural networks, etc. Okay, so I have listed some of the results, mentioned different papers. Okay, anyway, you can see that the maximum results are obtained on different databases are in the vicinity of 80%. So it's not completely solved. We can say that it's not completely solved, but there is a promise for the new deep learning methodology. There is a promise. The recent papers, when you read or when you refer the recent papers, you can see that so many improvement in speech motion classification system. Okay. So I would like to conclude with the second part. So the average classification accuracy of speaker independent systems less than 80% in most of the studies, and the adaptation of new deep learning strategy show promise in this field. Okay, so I would like to wind up today's session. In a summary, in the first session, I discussed speech production mechanism and some of the terms in phonemes. Second part, just a brief introduction about speech emotion recognition system. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Over to
And-
organizers. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir. And we will go ahead and take some time for questions now. If you have any doubts or questions, please do type it in the question box in the chat panel, and I'll be taking it to our speaker. And also in the YouTube live, if you have any doubts, please do type it in the chat box. And sir, we have one question, and the question is like, what was the difficult scenario faced so far while implementing any speech recognition process in real life scenario?
Real life scenario.
Yes.
Is it because when you develop a system, it should not be a closed set. And a closed set means you have trained a system. You have trained a system with several number of speakers and different noise conditions, because the speaker variability is also an important part. The speaker variability, noises, and amount of speech samples trained for each speaker. These are the important factors when you consider a good speech recognition system.
Thank you, sir. If you have any questions, please come up with the question. We will wait a few more minutes. If you have any questions, please type it in the chat. I think we have no more questions, and on behalf of Universal Engineering College, I would like to express our profound gratitude to our speaker, Dr. Rajeev Rajan, for his great and inspiring session and giving a great insight to a technology like speech processing. And I also express our sincere thanks to Ms. Fatima Saswina Begum, who rendered the welcome speech. And I also express my wholehearted thanks to all the participants who made this webinar a grand success. And once again, thank you everyone. We appreciate your effort for being here, and I would like to request every participant, please do fill the feedback form that we have sent in the chat, and it will be available for 30 minutes. And once again, thank you so much, sir, for joining us today. Thank you.
Thanks.